Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Brahmacharya, Sarasima, Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti, Vedanta, Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Brahmacharya, Sarasima, Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti, Vedanta, Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod ki Jai. Sri Guru Parampara ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Sri Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Go Premananda Hari Hari Bo. So everything is auspicious today. A big sadhu has just come. So, number 7, right? Please repeat after me. Niyatasya tu sanyasha karmano nopadyate mohat tasya pariyagas tamasa parikirtataha parikirtitaha niyatasya tu sanyasa karmano notpadyate mohatasya pariyagas tamasaha parikirtitaha nitatasya tu samyasa karmano notpadyate yate mohatasya pariyagas tamasa parikirtataya kitita
Mohatasya parityagas.
Oh, very nice. So, we'll just go straight on, right? I'll read it. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, number 7. The word for word. Chapter entitled The Perfection of Renunciation. Word for word. Please repeat. Nityatasya, prescribed to, but. Sannyasaha, renunciation. Karmana, of activities. Na, never. Upapadyate, is deserved. Mohat, by illusion. Tasya, of them. Pariyagaha, renunciation. Tamasaha, in the mode of ignorance. Parikirtitaha, is declared. So, translation Srila Prabhupada. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Okay, please repeat. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties of illusion, because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Yes, okay. So, purport, Srila Prabhupada, work for material satisfaction must be given up, but activities which promote one to spiritual activity, like cooking for the Supreme Lord and offering the food to the Lord and then accepting the food, are recommended. It is said that a person in the renounced order of life should not cook for himself. Cooking for oneself is prohibited, but cooking for the Supreme Lord is not prohibited. Similarly, a sannyasi may perform a marriage ceremony to help his disciple in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. If one renounces such activities, it is to be understood that he is acting in the mode of darkness. So, Mukam karoti vachalam pangam laitegarim yer kripa tamam bande shri gurun dinatarinam nityatasya tu sanyasaha karmano notpadyate mohatasya pariyagas tamasa parikirti taha. Prescribed duty should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So, this is why it's important with these very technical verses to look at the Sanskrit, you see. Karmana. So, prescribed duties refers to karma. So earlier in the Gita, Krishna says, guna karma vibhagasha, that according to the guna, the material modes one has interacted with in previous lives, then one will be attracted to and having a tendency to perform that work. So if one in previous life has cultivated mode of goodness, been a teacher or a student, then he will continue in the next life. There's that sloka, right? From Krishna comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So Prabhupada explains that verse. He says, yes, that we have a tendency and desires from past life. So Krishna reminds us, even in this life, even in the material life, to pursue our material goals. So that is karma. Karma means that, work. That's the root form. But then there's other karma, we'll go through that. Vikarma means to do activities that are against your karma, sinful activities. Say, for example, you are an administrator. You have a kshatriya tendency. So you should serve the people nicely. But vikarma would be you exploit your position and you steal the money or something. You're doing V against your karma. So that is sinful. And then another form of karma is akama. And that means to not perform your karma. So say you're a manager, a government employee, but you don't do your job. This is tamagun, you're lazy. So you're not performing your duty. So that is also a negative karmic balance, negative activity. Because you should perform your prescribed duty, your karma, which is your tendency. And then there is ugra karma. Ugra karma means very sinful activity. Like you're a manager, but you come to work drunk. And you fight with all the people in the office, or you cheat them. Ugra. Also, ugra karma means like, destroying the environment, or even murdering and killing and violent things. So these are the departments of karma. But generally people understand naturally what goes around comes around, right? What you sow, you will reap. What you do, you will get, Everything will return to you in the material world. So Krishna, in this section, he says, if you have a material tendency, which we all have, some people were big musicians in their life. So Krishna reminds them, yes, pursue your musical. So it's very interesting to think that Krishna is the servant, isn't he? We hear Ishvara Parama Krishna, right? But actually Krishna is also the servant of all the jiva, right? He's reminding him of what his material desires are. And he's helping him fulfill those material desires. So this is something to contemplate, that Krishna, he is Ishvara Parama, but he's not like that bad Kshatriya. He is facilitating the living entity in the material world. Sutri Mani Gana Iva. Everything is resting upon Krishna. Of course, in the modern day Kali Yuga education, everything is resting upon biology or chemical laws or physical laws. They are there, but they are resting upon ultimately Krishna. So Krishna is facilitating everyone. And what is the best way to perform your prescribed duties? That will come later. But it's interesting to note that sometimes people think, oh, I will just give up everything for my material life. Now, Lord Chaitanya did that, did he not, right? He had a young wife, Vishnu Priya. His mother was there with his young wife, Sachi Devi, and there was no big source of income. But he gave it all up, his prescribed duties, you could say, his karma, his material. Of course, Lord Chaitanya is fully spiritual, but he was performing a leela in this material world. But he gave up everything, right? Why? Because to teach his prem, his love of God in the mood of Radharani for Krishna, was so overwhelming that he couldn't stay in the household life. There's also another reason given, a big reason, in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, because the Chaitanya Bhagavat deals with Mahaprabhu in Navadvip and going to Puri. Chaitanya Charitamrita is later, Puri and South India and so on. So actually Mahaprabhu's Leela in Navadvip, I was reading in the book, it's considered more intimate because he's with his mother, his friends, his associates. And he was manifesting ecstatic symptoms beyond, human comprehension. So same thing with Nityananda Avadut. So if one is, he's illustrating by his example, if one is in Bhava Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti is the stage of Bhakti before praying. If one is in Bhava Bhakti, where one is feeling great emotion and unable to consider anything beyond Krishna in the transcendental realm and so on and so forth, then of course one can give up one's prescribed duties because they are a distraction. And also there is the discussion about Madhavendra Puri also. There is a famous sloka. Madhavendra Puri is considered the first person, he was before Mahaprabhu, to manifest the symptoms of Krishna Prem in our Sampradaya in an extraordinary fashion. And there is one famous sloka where he has come to Vrindavan and he says, from his ecstatic prem, he says, now I put aside my thread. I put aside all my rules and regulations of sadhana. Now I simply meditate on the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. So this is Bhava and Prem Bhakti. So if one reaches those platforms, these acharyas are explaining to us, then you can give up your material duties. But there's also in the Shastra, it says what is piety and what is impiety. What is good behavior and what is bad behavior in regard to prescribed duties. And it is stated in the Shastra there that to perform activities, material or spiritual sadhana, in accordance with your level, in accordance with your development, in accordance with your propensity. What does that mean? That means that if I am a sadhaka, I shouldn't imitate the activities of a prem bhakta, right? I should understand, with the guidance of sadhus and guru, that I'm on this, and also one can, didami buddhi yogam tam, Krishna gives intelligence. I'm on this platform, therefore I should perform austerity, say for example on Ekadashi, I should be careful about controlling my senses. I shouldn't try to be Nityananda Avadut. I shouldn't, and then similarly, I shouldn't put aside the rules and regulations, the prescribed duties that are suitable for a sadhaka, and just become spaced out. You understand? Not go to Mangalarti, not chant my rounds properly. And think, well, I'm chanting 3 Gayatris a day. Sometimes I'm too busy, I just don't bother. You know? Then that is also niyamagraha. Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Instruction, he says that niyamagraha means that following rules and regulations, he explains it in 2 ways. Follow rules and regulations of sadhana without understanding the goal. That means you should understand, have a good idea what is Krishna Prem. But then niyamagraha is also not following rules and regulations properly. So niyamagraha is that you are following rules and regulations of bhakti, but you have no idea of the role. So throughout the Shastra, that idea is there. For the sadhakas, there is the Siddha Baba who is in his position with Krishna, and then there is the sadhana bhakta. So the sadhana bhakta and the person in the material world that may, be married and have children and have a job and something, they should act in accordance with their position, but in such a way that they elevate themselves, right? Not that they think, oh, these rules and regulations are a bit tough. I think I'll just become a traveling sadhu and leave the wife and kids. Now, if you're in bhava bhakti, if you're on the outskirts of prem, that may be inevitable. But in the next purport, I just saw, what does Prabhupada says? One who is in Krishna consciousness should not give up earning money out of fear that he is performing fruitive activities. That's interesting, isn't it? So if you're a Paramahansa, okay, come to Vrindavan and sit on the bank of the Jamuna, chant 3 lakh Nam, Haridas Thakur, and, just rely on Krishna. But if you're a sadhaka, be intelligent, act according to your position. Huh? There's also a funny story just occurs to me about one disciple of Prabhupada in Mayapur. Did you know this story, Nandagopa? So this was in the beginning of Mayapur, and they were building Mayapur. There was hardly anything there. But one devotee came, and a Prabhupada disciple, and he said, I don't want to work and do this and that. I just want to chant Hare Krishna. So you know the story? So he made a little platform in a big tree. In Mayapur there's trees. And he went up in the tree and he just started chanting every day, all sitting in the tree, chanting all day. And so one time Prabhupada was on his morning walk and he came to this devotee in the tree and the devotee and the managers, or they said, well, Prabhupada, we don't really know what to do with him. He's just gone up in the tree and he's chanting all day and he comes down now and again. to sleep or maybe get some food, but he's in the tree all day and he won't do any service. So they wanted Prabhupada maybe to chastise him or something. I don't know. But Prabhupada said, let him, you know the story. Prabhupada, because he's a very brilliant, intelligent person. He said, let him chant. So, yes, Hare Krishna Jai, yes. They went on the morning walk. And then a few days later, the devotee came down from the tree and stopped his, non-stop chanting in the tree. Because he found he couldn't maintain that kind of sadhana. He couldn't be Haridas Thakur just by decision. That it's a gradual process. We have to, like at the Bhakti Lata Beach, it grows, it's explained, it grows. It doesn't suddenly, any tree, it doesn't suddenly give fruit in the first week of planting. So that devotee came back down and then he kind of blended into the situation. But Prabhupada didn't discourage him. He let him chant if he wants and then, let Krishna speak to him in the heart. Dami buddhi yogam tam. He didn't, chastise him or say you're a, Actually, finding fault is never a good thing, right? Because when we find fault, it's often spurred on by envy, matsarya. We want to look at people and find fault. And the Bhagavatam says, Paramo nirmacharanam satam, that Bhagavad Bhakti is understood by the non-envious. There's also another story, actually. We're getting a bit far away, but it's a similar story. That George Harrison? He was he was in the Beatles. Yeah, he was in the Beatles. And that was one of maybe the biggest group in the whole pop scene at that time. So he took to chanting Hare Krishna and everything, and he actually wanted to shave up and live in the temple. But Prabhupada said, no, it's okay, you chant in your place. So a few months later, I met him actually in England. A very nice, unassuming person. And so one day, the devotees came to Prabhupada, the managers or whatever, the leading devotees there, and they said, oh, Prabhupada, George is, they didn't call him George Harrison, everyone knew Miss George. George is, he's gone back to, drinking in his house. And Prabhupada said, don't speak to me like that. Don't tell, you be quiet. George is a very good boy. He's a very good boy. That's what Prabhupada said. He wouldn't hear any, even though it might have been an actual thing, but he stressed, no, George is a very fine person, very nice, very good. So these are all very instructive things. That is particularly with being non-envious, because sometimes we find fault because we want to push people down. We think that will make us happy. But the pure devotees, they are non-envious. They are trying to give compassion to people that are in the material energy. So that is the motivation of the sadhus, that find a particular set of practices, your work, and act in that way and gradually advance. So that is something we should understand, and we can learn our level by the association of the sadhus. And also we know that I'm not a Paramahamsa. I know I'm not this, I'm not this. And if we try to project that, then this is the sahajiya tendency. You know, that I come in the temple and I just put on a show that I'm in bhava and I'm falling down on the floor. I'm not saying this is happening daily in our temple. But what do they say actually in English? They say, well, honesty is the best policy, right? Isn't it? To be honest with yourself and to be honest with others and to work from that position. If you're learning harmonium, then learn simpler tunes first, and then learn this, and then learn this. Don't try and play the complicated stuff when you haven't really even got your fingers moving properly. So this is common sense, but at the same time, I also remember on this point, I was just reading Bhakti Sutras of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And he taught, it's very concise, very short sections, and he talks about that if you're following regulative principles, and therefore you're getting a little nam ruchi, and you want to go from nam ruchi to a shakti, and then from a shakti to bhava, and then to prem. He's very clear on this point. He says, then one should reduce one's sense enjoyment, and one should be more in control of the senses. So that is very instructive. If we want to go from nam ruchi, we're following regulative principles, and we want to go to bhava and realize our relationship with Krishna, Bhakti Vinod says, then we should progressively practice pratyahara, withdrawing the senses. We should increase our sense control, our meditation. But it should be done in a way that is suitable to us. Not that we suddenly, become Paramahamsa overnight, but we make progress. Actually, it just recurs to me that in the Brahma Samhita, there is a very pertinent verse. Prabhude Gana Bhaktyabhyam Atmani Anandaji Udeti Uttama Bhakti Bhagavat Prema Lakshana. No, Pramanas Tad Sadacharas Tadabhyasa Nirantana Bodhayan Atma Atmanam Bhaktim Uttamam Labet. So at the end of the Brahma Samhita, I encourage everyone to study it. Krishna gives 5 slokas about development of bhakti. So the first one is this. Yes, here it is. Pramanas tad sadacharas tadabhyasa nirantaram bodhyan atma atmanam bhaktim apyutamam labet. The highest devotion is attained by slow degrees. Just like you're climbing a mountain or you're swimming in distance, you go steadily. The highest devotion is attained by slow degrees by the method of constant endeavor for self-realization. So that means you're always thinking how I can realize my relationship with the Supreme Lord, how I can realize Krishna and Krishna's devotees and Gaur-Nitai, how I can realize them better. So that's your goal, that's your overall goal. I want to improve, but constant endeavor for self-realization with the help of 3 things. Scriptural evidence, that's pramana, that means evidence from the scripture, instruction. Theistic conduct, that means sad acharais. So, first one is, you should know the Shastra. From Guru, from Sadhu Sangha, you should know the Shastra. And then you should, theistic conduct. That means you should be free of kutanati, right? Fault finding. You should be free of overeating. You should be free of oversleeping. You should follow regulative principles. You should be kind. You should be polite. You should be, well, theistic conduct. And the third one, perseverance in practice. Three things, right? What's the first one? Pramana. Yes, shastric evidence, shastric knowledge, siddhanta. And then be a sadhu, try to be at least, theistic conduct. And then perseverance in practice. So this is Krishna's advice, he's telling Lord Brahma. And then the next sloka, these preliminary practices of devotion, sadhana bhakti, that's sadhana bhakti. Pramana, become pure, and persevere, become steady, right, nishta, are conducive to the realization of loving devotion, praying bhakti, than whom there is no superior well-being, and who goes hand in hand with the attainment of the exclusive state of supreme bliss, and who can lead to myself. So people want ananda, right? They want supreme bliss. They want to, and then this is achieved slowly, slowly, steadily, steadily. What do the Chinese say? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step, right? And we should always remember, right, that, what do they say? That, that whatever advancement we make, we never lose that, right? Like today, it's Ekadashi. So if we study Shastra like we are doing now, and we chant nicely, and we see the deities, and we offer our obeisances to the deities and the devotees, that is a deposit in the bank account. You understand? It's never lost. Say we go on parikram to Mayapur, we're always putting a deposit in our spiritual bank account. So if we think in this way, we can feel very encouraged. You understand? Because it's a slow degree. We're making progress, we're chanting, and we're following principles and studying the Shastra and understanding a bit. But we should know that we're making progress, but we're never going to lose that progress. That's always going to be our companion. And we can always build on that. You understand? We can always think, yes, I did something good today, and I'm making a little progress. Perseverance in practice. So Krishna is putting it very nicely. Don't think, oh, I'm going to get ecstatic revelation in 1 week after starting to chant. I'm not saying anyone is thinking like that, but that is the tendency. But the best idea is to be steady. Just like if you want to learn Mridanga, you practice every day. You don't practice only on Sunday. You understand? If you practice every day, you'll get better. But if you just practice Sunday, then you'll forget everything in the week. So steady, right? That's the meaning of it, isn't it? Nishta. After anathas are gone, we become nishta, steady. And so we should understand. And then Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam, yenamam upayantite. I'll give intelligence. So Krishna gives intelligence to the devotees. So the other point here, just to final point on today's sloka is, it's illusory to give them up, because if it's in the mode of ignorance. But we should understand that, what do they say? Patience. Patience is the key to success. So that is one of the qualities Rupa Goswami explains, that the devotee should feel confident, right? Enthusiastic, patient, act according to regulative principles, give up bad behavior, follow principles nicely. But he should feel confident, I will attain the goal, right? Constant endeavor. We shouldn't think, oh, I can't become a pure devotee. No. We shouldn't think, oh, it's too difficult. Then we're finding an excuse to stop. It is that application to sadhana and the process that proves to Krishna that we want to go back home, back to Godhead, that we want to become pure devotees. So our sadhana is proving to Krishna that we're sincere in this way. And we shouldn't think, oh, it's not possible, or I can't do it. Because Krishna wants to take you back, right? Like we said at the beginning of the class, he's facilitating our material life, reminding us that we wanted to be a businessman or a musician or a doctor. He's facilitating our material life, and he says, I will facilitate your spiritual advancement too. You shouldn't think that there is, and if Krishna is saying that, we can be very confident, right? That's like that story of Vibhishan. I told that story many times, you may have. Vibhishan, before the battle of Sri Lanka, he's the brother of Ravana. He came to Ram, before the battle, and he said to Ram, I cannot stay with my brother. I know I'm leaving my brother, it's my duty to serve my brother, he's the king of Lanka, but I can't stay with him. The way he's treating Sita is too terrible. Sita is such a wonderful lady, I cannot be associated with him. But I'm coming from this terrible background, Lord Ram, so you can do now what you see fit with me. So what did Ramchandra do? He embraced Vibhishan, and he said, it's my promise, Vibhishan, that whoever comes to me with sincerity and says, oh Ram, I belong to you, then I will give him shelter, and from that time on, he will remain safe. And that's what Krishna will say right at the end, right? Sarvadharma Prajaja, just surrender to me, and I will take care of everything. So it's very important to have that confidence in Krishna. We have some journey to go. The mind and senses are pushing and pulling us. But pramana, siddhanta, theistic conduct, giving up fault-finding, bad behavior. There's also another story, I'm remembering all the stories of Prabhupada. In Atlanta, there was a darshan, and Prabhupada, a Sunday darshan, and Prabhupada was asked in the darshan, Prabhupada, how will we know who is your real devotee? Who is your real disciple? You know, because Prabhupada had many disciples. So this guest asked, Prabhupada, how will we know who is your real disciple? And Prabhupada thought for a moment and he said, he'll be a real gentleman. Oh no, he said, he'll be a perfect gentleman. That's what Prabhupada said. So That's very instructive. You know, the great sages, they just say a few words and it carries realization. The perfection is not to know slokas or to be a big man. That may come according to Krishna's desire. But the perfection of Vaishnavism is to be a perfect person, to be a perfect gentleman, to be free of kutanati, fault finding, to be kind and generous. This is it, sadacharais, theistic conduct, to be a sadhu. Huh? So that is what Prabhupada was saying. He'll be a perfect gentleman. So this is something, you know, because, and the other point is here, in this whole section, maybe we can discuss it more next week, but in the Vedas there are two paths, two dharmas. One is Vidimarg and Ragmarg. So Vidimarg is being discussed here. Vidimarg is manifest in Varnashram, where you perform your activities according to your material propensities. And Ragmarg means Sanatandam, right? That means you're practicing hearing, chanting, remembering, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, so on. And that is based on rag, attraction to the Supreme Person. So Vaidhi Bhakti, or Varnashram, and instruction from the Vidhi, is very important because it helps, it puts a boundary around the Bhakti Lata beach. We perform our prescribed duties, whether we're, you know, in this position materially or that, but we perform them as a means of maintaining purity in our ragmarg, right? Same thing, niyamagraha. Don't just follow rules and regulations, but in your heart be developing rag, attraction to Krishna. So that's what Madhavendra Puri was talking about. That's why Lord Chaitanya showed the world. And the other reason he took sannyas, we didn't finish that, was because people in the local atmosphere of Navadvip, they weren't really taking him seriously. So he wanted to take sannyas because people naturally respect a sannyasi. Oh, he's renounced. He's very respectable. So that was the other reason. So the Vedic prescriptions are a combination of Vidhi and Rag. And so this is what Krishna is making clear to us in this conclusion to the Gita, that follow rules and regulations nicely, but within that, develop rag. How? Shravanam, Kirtanam, very important. Hearing the Bhagavatam, hearing the Leela of Krishna. There's three levels. Lord Chaitanya taught that. First, we should hear and chant. We should chant Hare Krishna and take prasad. Then we should learn philosophy. Then we should enter understanding of the Leela. This is again another progression. First we purify, Chetodapana Marjanam. Then we learn Vidya Vadu Jivanam. We learn Siddhanta. That frees us from material attachment and ignorance. And then we can understand the qualities of Krishna's devotees, the quality of Krishna's Leela as being adhoksaja, as being transcendental. So this is the progression of Krishna consciousness. And though we want to go there, but we should go there steadily. What did they say? Oh, the tortoise and the hare, right? Huh?
Slow and steady.
Sorry?
Railway classes, we studied that.
Sorry?
The story of the rabbit and the...
Yeah, the rabbit and the hare. The tortoise. Did I say something else? Turtle or something? Yeah, we all know that.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Huh?
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, that it's probably from.
Title.
That it's Aesop's fable in the West, but it's probably based in something Vedic. We all know, right? The hare thought, I will have a race. and the tortoise said, okay, I'll race you. And then the hare ran off, and he thought, he's so slow, I'll just sleep under the tree. And the tortoise took him over and won the race. So this is instructive, right? We want to but we're going to go slow degrees, right? But we should be confident that by grace, because I was just listening to Nectar of Devotion tape by Prabhupada, and he was saying that you only get pure devotion by the grace of a pure devotee. It's one of the characteristics of pure devotion. So, but you should be confident that you will get that mercy, because the pure devotees want to give that. But we're learning a big thing. We're learning the unlimited Lord, right? We're not learning, just to play guitar. We're learning, unlimited, the transcendental world. So it's just like at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, right? Narada Muni, he used to sit down, he was taught by the Bhaktivedantas, and one evening he was doing his meditation, and then instead of his Manasa Murti, actually Vishnu appeared to him, and he became ecstatic. And but then that vision disappeared, and so he sat down again and tried to recall Vishnu in toto, in full. But then he heard the voice of Vishnu, and he said, well, Narada Muni, I've appeared to you to encourage you. Those that are not fully pure in heart cannot fully see me. So to encourage you, I have appeared. Now continue with your sadhana, your meditation, and you will surely come to me. So Krishna can give special darshan and so on and so forth. But ultimately, prescribed duties, and we'll come to this Krishna will bring everyone. Prescribed duties are there, but this is what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta called Daivi Varnashram. That perform your prescribed duties, but yad karosi yadadnasi dogstadasi. Perform your materially suitable duties as an offering to the Supreme Lord. Don't just follow them for the sake of it, but it's all integrated with this constant endeavor. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And that's why sadhu sangha is so important. Because when we have sadhu sangha, I mean real sadhus, then our friends can tell us, you're getting a bit spaced out. Or, you should do, not in an envious way, but we encourage one another. And you understand. Just like if you want to be a musician, you should associate with musicians. If you want to be a devotee, you should associate with devotees, and they will inspire you. But ultimately, in psychology, they say, don't hope to become a devotee. No, decide. Do you understand? Don't think, oh, I hope one day I will be a pure devotee. That's okay, but then I will become a pure devotee, right? Dridha vrata, right? You have that decision in your heart. Not thinking, oh, I hope I will become a pure devotee. What's on television? You understand? You see the difference. So that is how, that is surrender, is making that commitment, dridha vrata, right? So Krishna, he responds to our decision. That's his promise. So it's very nice that every week we have a nice meeting with sadhus and encourage one another, right? And this is yajna, right? The sages, this is bhakti. Bhakti doesn't mean just selling the fruit in the temple for the guests. Bhakti means to hear the philosophy, it's most important. So any questions?
Hare Krishna, thank you for that. There were 3 qualities in Brahma Samhita. There are 3 things that we need to do. I get only 2.
Pramana. Pramana means Vedas, evidence. And then second one, sad acharais. That means, sad means eternal behavior, pure behavior. Theistic conduct is the translation. And then?
The third one, I don't know.
I want to learn guitar. You have to persevere. You understand? Right? If you want to be Jimi Hendrix, you got to work at it. So what's the 3?
First one, knowing Shastras.
Yeah, pramana.
Yeah. Second one is behavior, proper gentleman.
Yes, that's right. Big. And then the third one?
Practice.
Determined. Right?
And one more question, 4 things from...
And what will be the result? Slow degrees. And be confident, I will make advancement, slowly, slowly, slowly. Oh, what do they, that's the one. They say in India, slowly, slowly catch monkey. Isn't it? Maybe that's not a correct metaphor. But anyway, go on.
There was 4 things, 4 steps from having a taste for a name to prem.
Yeah. Well, there's 8 steps in bhakti. First is a little faith. But they're all based on rag. You have faith. Oh, I'm interested. And then sadhu sangha, so you mix with devotees. Then the third one is bhajana kriya. From the devotees you learn how to perform bhajan, worship of Krishna. Then anartha nivritti. The bad habits will become less. Modes will become less. Regulative principles are easy to follow. Then one becomes nishta. That means fixed. Because the senses are not disturbing so much. You're able to concentrate. So actually that is, in the Shastra, Acharyas say, that is the stage of being a devotee. That is Madhyamadikari. Before that, Pakrita Bhakta, agitation by the senses, and so on. But Nishta. Then you get Nam Ruchi. You get taste. The higher section of Nam Ruchi is that you actually realize that you're giving pleasure to Krishna by your chanting. The lower stage of Nam Ruchi is, oh, I like chanting, I'm enjoying. But the higher stage of Nam Ruchi is, oh, I'm doing it as a yajna, and I'm getting reciprocation from Krishna. This is Bhakti Vinod Jaivadharma. So that's Nam Ruchi. Then you become a Shakti. That means attached, rati, attached. First is rag, attraction, then attachment, and then bhava comes. Now at the stage of bhava, that's when you realize Krishna. and your relationship with Krishna. Bhava means the spiritual emotion. Prem is waking up. You're actually feeling prem. Not just attraction, but prem is coming from the soul. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhu. And then that condenses into prem. And then that's prem. And then, but it's explained in the Shastra that there's 8 sections of prem, further developments, but you can't develop them in a material body because the emotion is so strong. What are they? Man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhava, mahabhav, and prem. These are, mahabhav means you can't experience mahabhav, the soul, in a material body. It's just that's why we have to think that we have a tendency in the condition to say, I'm pretty cool. But actually the soul, with fully expanded prem bhav, its emotion, his development spiritually is beyond comprehension. It cannot be experienced within a material body. So, and that's what's illustrated like with Lord Chaitanya in Navadvip, Nityananda, Avadut, so on. So those people, they can, they're above and beyond all rules and regulations. So then you have Avadutas, they don't follow any rules or regulations. They just sit down and they're... And it's explained, I've read that in the Shastra, the people on this highest platform, they forget to eat, sleep, drink. They're so immersed in transcendence that Krishna has to take care of their body. He has to intervene because their consciousness is completely transcendental. Like Dhruva Maharaj, at one point he became the king, he got his kingdom, and then he went on a tour of the universe to meet the great pure devotees. And one of the persons, it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam, he was an avaduta, and he was pursuing the dharma, if you like, of a python. And so Dhruva with his companion went to see this great avaduta, and he spoke to him and he said, "What do you do?" "Well, I just lie here and whatever food comes in my mouth, that's enough for me." It's there, that you know that story? That's it. He's just it's just like whether I live or die, I might not even notice. Right? This is so that's why we have to go at slow degrees. Right? We can't become an avaduta and lay down on in the street. You'll probably just get run over by a tom-tom. Keep your wits about you and act accordingly. But have your mind on the goal, right? Any other points? Yes, Mataji.
I was thinking about the deposit you just mentioned. Deposit. As we practice spiritual practices, we deposit and we start again from there. We shouldn't think it's lost. But in my case, I see it's lost. Practicing even from 1984, now I feel like I'm starting again.
Yeah, but you're starting again from your old position. Prabhupada talks about that. That say you make 50% progress in one life, then in your next life you'll start from 51%.
Next life, not
Yeah.
this life.
Well, no, but the same thing, same idea. That you may have been distracted at that time, right?
Some circumstantial
Huh?
circumstantial pressure may have hold it for a little while externally.
Yes,
Some kind of practice.
but if you, I would guess that always you were thinking about Krishna inside your heart.
Inside our
Yes.
practice is as it was very strong.
Yeah, but still within your heart, you're thinking, I'm really a devotee in my heart. And that's what, it's in the Bhagavatam, first canto. It says that a devotee may fall down or reduce his application at an immature stage. But he doesn't become in the material energy like an ordinary materialist. Because within his heart, he always remembers, oh, I remember those days with devotees and that was special time. You understand? So that will take him back to practice again.
Even being in Vrindavan for so many years, more than 40 years, the circumstances are not very supportive.
Sorry?
The circumstances are not very supportive, even in Vrindavan, to be a lift to progress in spiritual life.
Yes. So, we were just talking with Prabhu last week, that when we have difficulties, they should remind us of Krishna. They should remind us to take shelter of Krishna. Do you see my point? This is what Queen Kunti says at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, right? She says, let all those troubles come again and again. Because when we had troubles in the forest and so on, now after the Battle of Kurukshetra, we're in the palace, but we won't see you anymore. But when we were in the forest, in exile, you were coming to see us all the time. So let those troubles come again. Because if we see you, we will no longer see birth and death. That's what she says, Queen Kunti.
Not of troubles, but situations that are not favorable to bhakti, that doesn't...
Well, be careful there. Don't put yourself in a net. Because bhakti is a matter of consciousness. So you can remember Krishna in any circumstance. That's what I'm trying to say. We have difficulties, but they should make us remember Krishna. Because bhakti means to rely on Krishna, especially for the sadhaka. You know? Oh, I'm having troubles and problems. Krishna, please help me. Please help me to remember you. You understand? And Krishna will reciprocate. He will. Because now you're here again. So we'll see you next week. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.